Hey friends, subscribers, more cheap heat. There's an endless supply. That's the good news. As dire as our national situation seems to be, there's always going to be cheap heat. So if you have a few spare bucks, you don't necessarily have to spend $30-40 on some deluxe reissue. You can get great records for $5, $10, some $20 even. That's what this is all about. And my taste is very biased to my taste. So I'm sorry about the bias, but that's just the way it is. This is mostly about jazz and fusion type music. Pretty much all these recordings I'm going to talk about today are by guitarists or have a significant guitar component in them. I'm a drummer, but boy, I love guitar. So what are we listening to now? This is an obscure one, and it can be had for cheap. I'm trying to also, in light of the confusion surrounding tariffs and the minimus exception and all that, I'm just focusing on American US releases for the next couple. Definitely get back into the imports. That's my favorite thing. And for you all who are in Europe or England or other countries, do not fret. I will be talking about records from your part of the world very soon. I thought I'd just give my US peeps a break. Anyway, what are we listening to? What are we listening to? It's jazz. It's a jazz trio featuring guitarist Joe Battaglia. And the title of the record is Freehand. And the late Peter Lemaitre is on drums. Fantastic drummer who unfortunately passed away, a while back. And the great Ed Schuller, son of Gunther Schuller, on bass, doing all original material. It's a great record. I really like it a lot. It's kind of like a ECM sort of vibe, but a little bit less produced sounding because it's a low budget thing. I guess it would almost be like a private release. It is on a label, Gnu-Vista, Gnu-Vista, but I think that's Battaglia's thing. And this is kind of a early 80s NMDS kind of a thing. I like it a lot. It's really a fine record. And great playing by all. And I don't know whatever happened to Joe Battaglia, but he can really play. And it's very enjoyable. All right. What are some other records that could be had for a little money that you might like? Well, I've got a few. The first one I'm going to talk about is this gem, Sunset Painter by Lynn Blessing, a vibroharpist. So I first became familiar with his playing via these records by Tim Weisberg, who is sort of a flute player, composer, who later on teamed up with Daniel Fogelberg, much to my dismay, because I was not crazy about the whole singer-songwriter thing now or then, back in the 70s. But Tim Weisberg did some pretty interesting and probably very cheap instrumental fusion records back in the early 70s, and Lynn Blessing was all over these things, and so I'd always been curious about this. And if you're into Bill Frisell's sort of country-ish phase, where he just sort of has that sort of aw shucks thing going on instead of the Power Tools raging monster kind of thing, you will really like this, because this sort of presages the whole country jazz rock thing by a couple of decades. I really like this record a lot. It's not expensive, and it has an interesting personnel. It's hard to tell who's on it from the back, but Robert Hirth is a guitarist. He's very good. Also on most of the record is the steel guitarist, pedal steel guitarist, Sneaky Pete Kleinow, who's one of the first guys to use effects on the pedal steel. Not real prominently on this, but I'm sure he's got something going on. And of course, there's a drummer and a bassist. I think I have to look at this and figure out who the drummer and the bassist are. Mel Telford on drums. Don't know who he is. And of course, Lynn Blessing Vibes harmonica. There's one sort of vocal track, but it's, you could just, it's the last track on side 2. You can ignore it. It's got sort of a sing-along thing going on. And there's a bassist, I think it's Ray Neapolitan. Oh no, it's Wolfgang Mells. Wolfgang Mells on bass. And John Beck. So there's 2 guitars on it. This is a very guitar-centric record. And Lynn Blessing is a vibroharpist and composer. I really like this a lot. It's kind of ahead of its time. Just to fill the spaces in, Lynn Blessing was also on this fantastic record, the Jazz Score. I've talked about this before. The CD has lots of extra material, but if you ever run across this, it's got Roland Kirk on it, just going nuts. No guitar, but this is a fantastic record, and it's not expensive. All right, moving right along. We're going to get to somebody everyone knows and loves, and this is possibly my top 2 or 3 favorite records by him. Well, top 5 anyway. Throb. And this has Jerry Hahn on guitar and Richard Green from C-Train on violin. A very unusual lineup. Really a great record, great example of early jazz rock. It's from 1969. I think it was his first record without Larry Coryell and Bob Moses. He was just beginning to move along. Steve Swallow's on this. And the drummer is Bill Goodwin. This is the Japanese pressing, and my wife looked at this and said, "What is that? What is that thing?" I don't know. That's what I said. Anyway, Gary Burton Throb. It's a really cool LP. It's a little dated sounding, but it's pre the ECM stuff, and it's kind of raw. It's kind of neat. I like it. All right, now we're getting into some of the more obscure artists, returning to my forte. I'd long looked at this band, this album in particular, Barry Romberg Group. Romberg is a drummer, quite an excellent drummer from Canada. And I was attracted to this record because there's 2 guitarists on this, plus a saxophonist, plus bass, Jim Vivian, who I have on numerous other releases. But the 2 guitarists, Jeff Young and Mark McCarran, really stir the pot hard. This one is from 1989. So, but don't be fooled. There's no keyboards on it. This is a good example of the kind of thing I bought back in the late 80s. I tried to avoid keyboards at all costs. And if I'd seen this back then, I would have gotten it back then. But it's great. Effects-laden guitar, 2 of them, and all original compositions. Mostly written by, I take that back. There is a cover or 2. Mostly written by Jeff Young, one of the guitarists, but also Barry Romberg. But they do Inner Peace by Kenny Kirkland, and they do a wonderful up-tempo version of Blues Connotation by Ornette Coleman. This is a great record. If you really like sort of late 80s, early 90s guitar fusion, this is a little more edgy and a little more jazz-oriented, but this really scratches the itch. Because of the distortion and just the great flow of ideas and the great playing. Here's a guy I ignored. I talked about his album briefly in my last edition of this nonsense because his first album was on Inner City. He recorded 2 subsequent records for a small label in the Bay Area called Rogue Productions. And if you wrote these off as new age music, you would be forgiven, because that's exactly what I did. Exactly what I did. I thought, oh, this is new age crap. Well, it's not. I mean, it's not. And not all new age is crap. I kind of dig some of it myself. Anyway, but not enough to do a cheap heat video about it. Anyway, I got this after the 3rd one. This is his 2nd album. This is more or less the follow-up to Alicia, which was his release on Inner City. This is called Madagascar, as you might be able to read. And it's Gregory James. And this is just credited to him. He's got a new band. Drummer Robin Tollison, very good drummer. Bassist Bruce Barrett, a really nice sort of fretless post-Jocko sound on this. And the same saxophone player that was on Alicia, Barry Shulman, who's got sort of a very broad, vibrato-laden sound. He also plays, it says wind instruments. I think he plays some flute on this, soprano and alto, maybe tenor. Anyway, I was shocked. This is actually some pretty strong fusion jazz rock. I really liked it a lot. I was very pleasantly surprised by this. I actually like this more than the one on Inner City, although I like that one. But this really gets kind of heavy, and great playing all around by the band, who are obviously well prepared, well rehearsed. This is not a studio thing, and all original compositions too, written by either Gregory James or Barry Shulman, or both. Anyway, they did a follow-up, which is even better, also from the mid-'80s, called Alphabet Town. I was going to say Alphabet City. It's Alphabet Town. And again, the cover sort of screams New Age or ECM laid-backness. Both of things I love. Don't worry about that. But this is also kind of a verging on heavy fusion sort of jazz rock record. And both of these records can be had for a pittance. I mean, they're really cheap. Again, same band. Barrett on bass, Tollefson on drums, Gregory James and Barry Shulman. And all the group contributed to various compositions on this. The bassist wrote a couple. Gregory James did most of side 2. Barry Shulman contributes one. So it's all original. It's very cool. There's some guitar synthesizer on both of these records, so if you're into guitar synthesizer, great. If not, be forewarned. He doesn't sound like Pat Metheny on it, and the guy has chops to burn. I mean, a lot of chops. It's not screaming jazz rock throughout, but it's surprisingly chunky and very satisfying. So both of these albums come highly recommended, and I'm sure you can find a copy of either one, if not both, locally, and it'll be in the single figures as far as the money is concerned, possibly even sealed. Moving right along, I've had this one for ages, and it's a really interesting record. Randy Roos is a guitar master. He's such a good player. And when this album came out, there was a lot of buzz, mostly because of the double neck. We thought Mahavishnu. It's actually closer in sound to Metheny, Weather Report. It's not mellow, and it's certainly not uncomplicated. There's some really cool compositional stuff going on here, but it's not a crunchy, heavy, scorch the earth type of fusion record. It's not exactly mellow either. Interesting personnel too. This guy was based in Boston. I think he's still there. He's still active, playing. Yay! And Mike Stern is on this. That's the bizarre thing. So this guy's like a guitar guru, ninja, and he's got Mike Stern on it. And I think it might even be Mike Stern's first recorded appearance. He gets a couple solos here, and it's really, really cool. Neil Steubenhouse on bass. Bassist Kermit Driscoll actually writes one of the tunes. I'm going to turn this down. It's a great record, though, isn't it? I love it. Anyway, Illyrio Lima from Weather Report on percussion. Luis De Andrade on drums, and I don't think there's a tabla player on a track, and Roos plays all kinds of guitars, and he plays some synth, he plays fretless guitars. There's really a lot of guitar sounds on this record. It's a very, very good record, and for something of this quality and this obscurity, it's clear, by the way. It's pressed on clear vinyl. Look at this. Clear vinyl. It's from the early 80s, or maybe the mid 80s. No, 78. It's from 1978. So there was sort of a clear vinyl epidemic going on, the Jason Martz album specifically. Anyway, worthwhile, very worthwhile, plentiful, not expensive. Get it? No fooling. Now here's a record I think I saw it around and I just didn't realize it was great. And Ken Golden from Laser's Edge posted this on Facebook and just raving about it. And I thought, Ken knows what he's talking about. I'll check this out. And holy crap, this is excellent. Stretch is the name of the band, not very original. There was at least one British band called Stretch. The name of the album is Stretch, and it's a small label record on Half Track Records, kind of a audiophile label. US Press from 1984, Philadelphia. The pride of Philadelphia. Philadelphia has a lot to be proud of. Go Eagles, go Phillies, go Sixers, go Flyers. And the interesting thing is that the personnel features two people associated with the Dixie Dregs. Dave LaRue on bass, who I think at some point replaced Andy West. He also played with Steve Morse in his band. And T. Lavitz on keyboards. Anyway, this is an excellent, scorching hot fusion record. All original compositions, great playing. Bill Elder on drums just crushes it. And Glenn Alexander, who's the leader, well known now as a guitar teacher, is just amazing on it. A really great record and very, very inexpensive. Stretch. Glenn Alexander. Okay, speaking of the Dixie Dregs, here's another band that I sort of ran into this at an album convention. I was just intrigued. They're called Electric Tigers, and these aren't super cheap, but I've seen this. I've seen this expensive, and I've seen it cheap. And wait till it turns up in cheap form to get it. But this album, and there's a follow-up, also has some very significant Dixie Dregs connections. T. Lavitz is on most of it, playing great. He did not fall victim to the crummy 80s keyboard sounds. He has great keyboard sounds on this and on the Stretch record. That's one reason why I probably never got these back in the day in the 80s. I was just afraid of the keyboards. But T. Lavitz, really, what a great player. What a loss. Anyway, this is from 85. And I would say the music on these records is equal parts sort of pompous prog rock, all instrumental, and heavy, heavy fusion. And it's really, really good. I really enjoyed these records. Steve Bruns on drums. Bruns, not Burns, but Bruns. He also co-produces with guitarist and leader Paul Anderson, another guy who is, I think, making his living mostly as a guitar teacher now. And these are just great. There's some keyboards, there's some flute. I like this one a lot. It's a really nice jazz rock fusion prog record. This one is the follow-up. Electric Tigers, Here to Stay. Oddly enough, it was their last album. Not Here to Stay. More or less the same personnel, fewer guest musicians, really a keyboards, guitar, bass, and drums thing. More prog than fusion, but still very, very good. And I like it a lot. And yeah, if you find this, get it. Especially if you like prog. I'm going to wrap it up. I thought I could finish this before the record ended. That's always the race I'm in, but unfortunately, no, not this time. The last thing I want to talk about is this great record by Danny Toan, who is a New York session guy there for a while in the 70s. He recorded a pretty cool jazz funk record called First Serve on the Embryo label back in the 70s. It's another one. I think it had Steve Kahn on it as well. It's another one where there was more than one guitar player. Anyway, later on, he went to Europe. I think he went to Europe and recorded this. And this is a ripper, I'll tell you. This is a very good, heavy, funky jazz rock record. Kind of like the John Lee, Jerry Brown stuff. Not as complicated, but definitely has that heavy, chunky sound that I really like. And speaking of John Lee and Jerry Brown, they're on this. Yes, the whole thing. So it's those two, Joachim Kuhn on piano and Danny Toan on guitar. And on this, they play tunes written by all the band members, John Lee, Jerry Brown, Danny Toan. I don't think there is not a Joachim Kuhn composition on this, but they do a cut called Dreams Come and Go Away. And I think that was also done on a Carlos Garnett record. Anyway, they do a really nice version of it. It's inspired by and dedicated to Hendrix. So you see where they're coming from on this. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got something out of this. Guitar fusion oriented cheap heat edition. It's really my favorite genre of music. And I hope you come back for more. And thanks for watching all the way through. Take care.